We are so grateful to be supported by sponsors like our friends at Haney and Company. We all know that in today's complex financial landscape, having a trusted advisor can make all the difference. Since 1960, Haney and Company has been providing comprehensive accounting services to a diverse range of clients, from small businesses to large corporations. With nearly 400 professionals across 13 locations, they offer services in tax, audit, business consulting, and client advisory. In fact, their commitment to excellence has earned them recognition from Accounting Today and Forbes magazines. At Haney and Company, though, it's not just about balancing books. It's about building lasting relationships based on trust and mutual growth. So visit HaneyCPAs.com. That's HaneyCPAs.com to learn how they can support your business's financial journey.
We are so grateful to be supported by these community champions: Sales MD, Team Friday, Realist Lab, Kiana Patterson, Diego Chavez, Jer Boucher, Heather Ryder, Janine Sua, Lily Roca, and Steve Kernan.
Hey, it's Friday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for another episode of Stoppage Time with you and I hanging out here. And also, you know what it means today, specifically October 31st, it's Halloween. Although I got to say, Halloween's not my biggest holiday, except for when I was a kid. I've never honestly been much of a Halloween costume or party person. Honestly, I much more enjoyed Halloween as a parent. When Riley was little and growing up, and even through her high school years, decorating the house and handing out candy to the neighborhood kids. But for me nowadays, it's literally just another Friday. That is until we start taking baby Leo out. And then I'm going to be totally into it again as a grandpa, but for like a whole nother set of reasons, right? So, but beyond that, honestly, it's just another week here in my life, kind of a stable, predictable pattern of weeks, really this last 3 or 4 months. Nothing particularly exciting going on aside from regular, consistent progress of new episodes and new conversations that are happening on our Entrepreneurial Thinkers show here in this same channel. The conversations that I get to have on that show continue to just amaze me and humble me. I've learned so much, and I continue to learn, and I hope you're learning with me as a proxy for your curiosities. I hope you're learning so much more about how these really bright, interesting, forward-thinking people are thinking more entrepreneurially, more creatively, differently about these problems and or opportunities that we face in our society, in our industries, in different sectors, in different segments, all across the world, right? Because the level of access that we have to these incredibly bright, forward-looking people is a gift. I mean, it's really a gift. And of late, it seems we're kind of on this different trajectory now where the public profiles of some of our guests kind of continue to elevate the conversation, which then elevates the show, and it just makes my work even more enjoyable and more fascinating. But aside from that, there hasn't been a whole lot going on, and so I'm going to kind of put something to you guys here at the end of today and see what you think about that. But as a tip of the cap to a conversation on this week's Entrepreneurial Thinkers, I'll say that I had the really good fortune of not only exploring some of the huge moves and the impact of the growing life sciences industry here in Los Angeles and in California more broadly, but I got to do it with a really good friend and a show alumnus here, my buddy Dave Whelan. So Dave and I catch up for a long and really wide-ranging conversation that talks about a whole bunch of stuff, but kind of 3 big areas. One, some huge capital investments being made here in California in the life sciences industry. He goes into some details and the stories and the backstories of some of those. 2, the importance of the new innovation center that's coming to the west side of Los Angeles, the old mall that's being converted around the UCLA Westwood area, and how that deal came together, and then what it portends for the future. And then 3, about California and Los Angeles specifically, and how both of our areas, our region, so to speak, our state, is really positioning itself to continue to lead as innovations from life sciences really start to reshape how long and how well we will all live. So we talk about things like quantum computing. We talk a little bit about AI and how it ties into healthcare, life sciences and the like. But we really do kind of anchor down in the idea that life sciences might just be this next part of kind of the booming industry growth sector here in California that will propel us forward in a world in which our populations are aging. Everybody is trying to figure out how to live longer. And in the current political climate in the US, like lots of private sector and university organizations are having to band together to kind of continue to advance science while our federal government defunds it and moves away from it. So, a lot to discuss for folks that are interested in what's going on in Los Angeles or in California. It'll be a fascinating conversation for you to enjoy. For folks that are super in tune to the life sciences industry, health tech, biotech, pharma, all that stuff, it should be super interesting. And for folks who are just generally kind of trying to stay ahead of the thinking of what is coming as opposed to how we got here, I hope it's an interesting conversation to you as well. But every conversation on Entrepreneurial Thinkers is fun, but they're especially fun when I get to share them with great friends. It just makes the entire endeavor a little bit more enjoyable and a little bit easier. So, but honestly, as I tipped already, and I tipped in the title here, I'm as much curious about what you're thinking and what's on your mind as we get into this end of the year as I am just about what's on my mind. Aside from this week's new episode, which dropped across all the channels on Thursday, as always, honestly, the rest of the week has had me really just thinking about most, if not all, the same things that I think about every week this year, right? US politics, kind of at the macro and local level, and the crazy authoritarian shit show that we're in the midst of. Our conversations that we have on Entrepreneurial Thinkers boast. My mind is always attached to the kind of the most recent few that I've had, but also thinking forwardly about who I can book for future shows and having those conversations with prospective guests. I'm always got a mix of some level of sports fandom going through my mind. Although everybody this week and everybody who's a baseball fan is transfixed by the World Series with the Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm not. I don't really pay much attention to it because I'm neither a Dodgers nor a Toronto Blue Jays fan. And so once my Chicago Cubs are out of it, I kind of stop caring about or paying attention to baseball. So, sports fandom is always on my mind. The sales and growth of our sponsorships and new podcast production projects for our clients on the storytellers production side of our business is always on my mind. My grandson, Leo, his parents, Riley and Henry, and my friends, my closest friends are always on my mind and how they're doing in their lives or how I can check in on them, see what's going on in their careers, see if there's anything I can do to help them. That's the stuff that is always on my mind. And as I got ready to record this for you all today, I kept thinking to myself, it's towards the end of the year. This is the time of the year when Deanna and I usually evaluate our shows creatively and we think about how we can make them more interesting or more valuable to you all in the coming year. Sometimes we make changes, sometimes we don't. And in the case of this show, it's always been a bit of a sandbox creatively. Like that was kind of its intention. Let's try something different. Let's do short form. Let's do me speaking directly to camera. Let's have me speak more extemporaneously about world issues and things that I'm experiencing in my life on a week-to-week basis, and not just the scripted conversations that I'm hosting in the Entrepreneurial Thinkers feed. And so I'm kind of opening up, right? Like maybe there are ideas you have as listeners or viewers of these stoppage time shows. Maybe there are things that you have thought about as you've consumed these over the course of 2025 and you've thought to yourself like, man, I wish he would talk about this more, or, oh boy, it'd be cool if he ever talked about this, or I'd love to hear more about that on this show. If you have those types of ideas or that type of feedback, find me on social media, DM me. You can find me at I am Rob Ryan across almost all the platforms. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram, on Threads as kind of the new age replacement to Twitter, and whatnot. And just send me a message. Or if you know me personally and you listen to these, you probably have my cell phone number or my WhatsApp number, and you can directly message me there with some ideas. But maybe this show will remain that. Maybe it'll remain an experimental sandbox where we can do different things and we can mix it up and we can try new creative outlets for me and for us. Or maybe there is something that I could do again that would be more valuable and interesting to you. Maybe it's outlived its purpose already, and that could be an okay outcome as well. Or maybe we could alter it in ways that I've literally never thought about. As I said, my initial inspiration was to be able to come in here and talk extemporaneously about things in the world as I experience in them. But honestly, like so much of our discourse and of my mental energy presently in the United States and my life here in the US goes into our unsettled political reality, that I don't know necessarily that you want to hear me come on here and talk about that good, bad, or indifferent every week for the next 3 years. Right. But then again, maybe you do. And so, as I often say, it's to Deanna, it's our show. We can literally do anything we want with it. So I'm going to leave you with that this week. I'm going to ask you that if you do have some thoughts, DM me, find me, message me, send me a text, etc., whatever it is, reach out, send me an email. Rob Ryan at storytellerscompany.com. And maybe you got some great ideas and some things that Deanna and I can bounce around and take shape. And maybe we can make this an even more impactful part of our portfolio of shows come 2026. But regardless, it's fun to come on here and just talk with you a little bit differently. It is fun to tease out the week's episode on Entrepreneurial Thinkers and hopefully entice you a little bit to, if you didn't see that episode, to jump in and find it. There's so many great conversations there that, as I always tell you, I'm not doing it just for shameless promotion. I'm doing it really because I genuinely feel like I grow so much from each of the conversations that I get to have in the Entrepreneurial Thinkers show, that I want you all to have that same growth and opportunity to benefit as I do. So I really hope that you do go check those out and you let us know what you think of those shows as well. Always like, follow, subscribe, share, review us on Spotify or Apple's Podcasts or YouTube, wherever you can put those types of reviews. All that stuff is appreciated, as it helps us to kind of solidify and grow as we go forward. It helps us to show growth to our sponsors. But other than that, I'm just going to wish you a happy weekend, as I always do. Peace, love, joy, happiness. And hey, happy Halloween. If this is your holiday, if this is your day every year, go out, soak it all up, have fun, be safe. And we'll see you right back here next week on Thursday with a new episode of Entrepreneurial Thinkers, and Friday with another conversation here between you and I on Stoppage Time. We are so grateful to be supported by sponsors like our friends at Chisos Capital. Everyone knows that raising capital is hard. And frankly, finding the next pool of entrepreneurs to get access to as limited investors is sometimes impossible too. Do you have a big idea, a dream you're building, but you're struggling to find early funding? Well, Chisos is changing the game for founders, creators, athletes, and investors. Whether you're launching a startup, growing your creative brand, or training for the big leagues, Chisos backs you. Chisos uniquely invests up to $100,000 in people, not just products, whether they be entrepreneurs, creators, or even athletes. With their unique CISA model, convertible income share agreements, founders get flexible funding without giving up equity or ownership, and investors get attractive returns and great upside with less risk. Chisos works for both investors and the people bringing our world to life. If you're seeking access to a truly diverse pool of deals, or you're someone who feels overlooked by the VC game, Chisos is ready to back you. So apply now at chisos.io.